Hello and welcome to Sensor Signals and Solutions. This is Miss Oric and we are entering week 5. We are more than halfway through our 8-week course and I know you're all very excited to, if you haven't already, to get started on those culminating projects which we will be sharing with one another in our final week of the course. This week we have 2 objectives. One, the same as last week. Students will analyze different types of sensor technology and power. So when we analyze different sensors, we think about them and how they help us in different fields and just in everyday situations. And also our other objective is students will engineer a sensor or sensor design to solve a problem using the design process. And that really talks about your culminating project, your objective, which is your plan for your project, and your design is what you're going to create, your model or your blueprint, and the design process, explaining that through a video presentation or a typed written presentation, explaining the steps that you took to create your project, the steps you took to conduct your research, and also how your product is going to benefit people. So that is those are our learning objectives. For this week, our essential questions are: what is miniaturized sensor technology? And miniaturized technology is tiny, tiny technology that sometimes is so small, even the naked eye could not see it. But there are some devices that you're going to learn about that are implantable, that can be implanted, like a chip in humans. It's even done in animals as well. So we're going to learn a little bit about that technology. We're going to also learn about brainwave sensors and how these sensors and this type of technology have provided solutions for people and how they have enhanced different things in our world. And then we're also going to think about how those things are going to develop and progress in the future and how they're going to continue to be more helpful to us in years to come. So in our first slide, we are talking about brainwave sensors, and basically we think about brainwaves and how they're produced by synchronized electrical pulses from masses, meaning lots, many, of neurons communicating with each other. So these neurons are talking to one another, okay, they have their own language, and this stimulates the brain waves. Now the brain waves are detected using sensors that are placed on the scalp, and you may or may not have seen this in different examples and science videos and things of that nature, but there is sensor technology and tools that actually do this, okay? So they detect the brain waves. They also detect the speed, which is measured in what's called hertz, or different cycles per second. And they're divided into different bands, starting from slow and then getting to moderate, which is a little bit faster, like an average speed, and then fast waves, which are even faster than the average. So they go in different stages. Now there are devices in the market that use this type of technology to stimulate brain waves and cause them to produce different types of functions. So this is another example of how sensor technology is used. So now implantable sensors I was talking about, and those are these tiny little sensors that sometimes are not detectable. And there's one that we are going to learn about, which is called the neural dust. And this sensor is implanted in the human body. So this sensor is implanted and it's put into the muscles and what's called the peripheral nerves, okay? And they've tested this out on rats naturally first before humans to see if this technology actually works. And it's very unique in the sense that ultrasound is used both to power and to read the measurements. Okay, so this type of ultrasound technology is already developed to be used in hospitals. It can penetrate nearly anywhere in the body, meaning it can send signals and retrieve information from anywhere in the body that it's implanted, unlike other types of sensors or even radio waves, as researchers have come to find as they've developed this technology. So there is a video to learn about that. And this is a YouTube video. and it's brief, so we are going to watch it. And we can see how small that is. And here are some of the engineers that are looking under the microscope, and see how small that is compared to a penny. There they are implanted into the human body, and they provide data. Here it is an example in a rat nerve. And they can help quadriplegics. Those are people that have been paralyzed. And they can detect the activity that goes from the brain to the muscles that make your muscles and your limbs move and operate. Here are some robotic arms and prosthetics as they're being used. It could be used to check even the health of an organ, as the human heart, look at appetite in the stomach and the nervous system, and even treat conditions like epilepsy, where people have seizures. So that is a unique type of sensor technology that you just saw. And it's really neat because the example they were showing was that it can be used in different organs, as in the human heart, to monitor how the heart is beating. It can be used in the stomach to see how food is being digested. But I found what was really interesting is that it could be used to help people who are quadriplegics. So if someone is paralyzed, they can't move their arms and their legs, or just their legs, and they're like a paraplegic, that's because the brain waves, the messages are not being sent from the brain to the muscles to make them move. And this type of technology can actually help send these types of muscles bypass or kind of skip over the part that isn't working, and be able to help people that are quadriplegics or maybe paraplegics be able to move with the help of what's called a prosthesis, as you saw with the robotic arms. So this is a really neat type of technology. It's an example of miniaturized technology, as we were talking about, and it's something that definitely I think we're going to see a lot more in the future. So that's what we were focused on for this week. Now, for the rest of the week, you have your discussion forum. So in week 3, you identified your target audience for your culminating project. This week, for our discussion, you're going to answer some questions about why it's important to have a target audience in mind when you design a product, such as your culminating project. You're going to look at how does this help you in planning the design of your project. And you can either respond through a written video or through a written response or a video response. So hopefully some people will do some video responses. I haven't seen any yet, and I think that would be really neat for us to share those. But you do have that choice. And then, of course, you have to respond to a post from 2 of your classmates. For your second culminating project task, this is the part 2 of what you did last week. So this week it's called Researching and Analyzing the Topic. And you're going to answer some questions about your culminating project, which could be in a Word or a Google Doc. And you're going to talk about or answer what website, articles, surveys, or experiments you've done so far or you plan to do as part of your research. Did you interview anyone? Maybe you interviewed someone in the field for part of your research for your culminating project. If you did, what kind of questions did you ask them? and then kind of analyzing your research. What does your research say about your topic, and what steps do you need to take now that you have your information? So that's just to give me an idea of where you are and what your thinking process is when it comes to your project. For your exit card, you're going to watch a YouTube video, and it's about wireless brain wave detectors, and it's pretty neat. It talks about how it translates the brain waves are translated so that your brain waves are actually changed into what's called electronic signals. And so after you watch that, you'll have a question that you're going to respond to for your exit card, and that will be your work for week 5. So we also have scheduled this week, week 5. I've sent out an email and an invite for those of you that can attend the Google Hangout to go over questions and just to follow up with you to see how far you are with your culminating projects. If you can't do that, then I've also sent you emails, and I will set up a time to either talk to you on the phone, or if it's an issue with scheduling or a time difference, then I will just send you questions via email. You can answer those for me, and then we can continue to go further into you can go further into working on your culminating project. So it's really important that we communicate this week. If you have not responded, please do so. Other than that, have a great week. I am so excited that we are getting towards the end to the course, not because we're going to be ending, but because I really want to see what you come up with for your culminating projects. The student objectives that you have submitted so far have been pretty interesting, so I'm excited to see what you come up with. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you. Have a wonderful week 5, and I will talk to you soon.